We back. We back. I hope you guys can. Yes, everybody can hear me. Thank you. How's everybody doing today on this nice Monday night? But it says Wednesday on your Instagram. It says you go live on Wednesday. Today's not Wednesday. Today's Monday. Today's not Wednesday. Today's Monday. It says Wednesday on Instagram. It's not. He says it's Wednesday, but he's live on Mondays. All right, go fuck yourself. All right, I go live when I went live. I gave you guys all the fucking posts to let you guys know I was going live today, and I went live today. All right. If you're here, thank you very much. If you're not, go fuck yourself. All right. Welcome to another episode of The Issue Live with me, your host, L. And with that being said, I was supposed to have some illustrious guests on today, but you know, one canceled and the other one, I don't know. I can't get through to at this moment. Maybe we might be able to connect with them a little bit later. We'll see. But with all that being said, let's jump right into today's show. So first off, today we have, I did this story at the request of one of our viewers, and this was about vaccine distribution. And I have to say off top, this isn't a subject that I knew an awful lot about. And I had to do some diving into, and what I found was a little troubling, at least to say. So now, if you guys don't know, the distribution of vaccines is done by the governors. Now, the CDC and the federal government have a list of who should go in line first, second, and third, and the governors are expected to follow these guidelines. But there are a few problems with this approach. Now, Florida's governor, Ron DeSantis, or I can't really say his name, whatever it is, doesn't matter, is coming under fire for what is being perceived as a pay-to-play scheme for his distribution of the vaccine. For his distribution of the vaccine to wealthy communities. Now, Representative Charlie Crist, I can't say his name either, of a Democratic representative of Florida, sent a letter to the acting attorney general to open an investigation into this Florida governor, stating the following. I write with concern about reports that Florida governor Ron DeSantis is establishing coronavirus vaccine distribution and administration sites, select locations to benefit political allies, donors, over the needs of higher risk communities and existing county wait lists, Crist wrote. In several cases, these sites seem to be targeting to wealthy communities to whom Governor DeSantis has clear political connections, allowing some to skip to the front of the line in counties with existing wait lists, the representative continued. Now, something else Crist pointed out was Crist pointed to a surprise announcement DeSantis made on February 17th that 3,000 doses of the coronavirus vaccine would be available to the wealthy community of Lakewood Ranch in Manatee County. Lakewood Ranch's parent company is owned by a major Republican donor who has given $900,000 to DeSantis, Crist said, also noting that the area had lower COVID-19 infection rates within the county. So take what you want from what Representative Crist is alleging DeSantis of doing. But there's also other cases. You have in Texas, the Texas governor coming under fire for starting to vaccinate the second tier of people before the first tier of people were finished being vaccinated, resulting in a sort of Hunger Games rush of people trying to get vaccinated, which is also resulting in a shortage. Not to mention, all on top of the devastation we all saw Texas go through last week caused by this freak winter storm. There's also evidence that shows even though Black and Hispanic communities were harder hit by COVID, there are significant disparities in the distribution of the vaccine to them. Now, these are just a few examples. But there is a growing concern amongst governors as well. Biden's vaccine rollout initiative are creating confusion and inefficiencies. And from what I understand, this is mainly due to just a lack of communication. For example, part of Biden's plan includes sending vaccines directly to nursing homes and pharmacies. Now, it's a good idea in theory, but the only problem with that is that the states don't know who the feds are sending these vaccines to, causing further confusion and inefficiency. Now, you might be asking, well, what should we be doing? What's the best way to get out of? What's the best way to get this done? And I'm here to tell you, I have no fucking clue. From my perspective, I would assume it should just go to the most vulnerable people of the population, and then you work your way down from there. But that's not so simple. Yes, you want to protect the elderly who are at risk, who are at the most risk of dying from this virus, but that excludes the people who are at the most risk of catching it. People who work in the service industry, essential workers like grocery store clerks, teachers, police officers. These are all people who are amongst the highest risk of catching the virus that are going to be excluded if you're going after the people who are at the most risk of dying from it. There's also a problem basing who gets vaccinated depending on their job, because who becomes the person who determines whose job puts someone in line in front of a person? Who gets to determine whose job places a person in the line in front of somebody else? Now, like I said, I don't fucking know. And I don't have the answers. But what I am sure about is, like everything else run by the government, is that it's going to be a shit show. And Javi, during in this whole, me researching this, there was a research done by, I think, 17 between 17 states, and of these 17 states, they showed this disparity between races and the communities, poor and rich communities. And you had cases where in Mississippi, I believe 38% of the cases in Mississippi were Black people, and 15% are and they're only getting vaccinated currently at a rate of 15%. Now, I know there's a lot of intangibles that go into this. Like I said, it's most of these vaccinations are targeting high risk people, which are people of a certain age, and then they work their way down from there. And so, where those disparities come in, who knows? Like I said, there's a lot that goes in between there. But the way that the federal government as of now is going about it, and the Biden administration is going about it, is a complete shit show. And at this point, I mean, we might be at a pace where we'll be at a what's the word that they always say, herd immunity. We might reach a point of herd immunity before all the people get vaccinated.
Is that mostly because of the way it's being rolled out, or because of what they were doing as far? Because it doesn't matter, like it's like with everything, right? Like the rich are going to be able to use their money to do whatever it is that needs to get done, right? They can upgrade their plane tickets, they can upgrade their seat tickets to the game. They're gonna upgrade their
we saw it in Florida. I mean, it's basically a pay-to-play scheme. He has these rich constituents in a certain area, and he's making sure he's taking care of them. We talked about it last time on the last episode. That fucking club, these people are part of this club, and us regular folks are just not a part of it,
Mm-hmm. That's to be expected, I think.
And those are just two examples from two states. You know what I mean? Again, there was a study between those 17 states that showed the disparity between races. And I'm 100% sure that Florida is not the only Florida's governor isn't the only governor that has some type of pay-to-play scheme in place for who's getting these vaccinations. I guarantee it.
You know what I'd be interested to find out is, did they have this kind of trouble when it came to distributing the flu vaccine?
No.
Was there any of this bullshit?
No, because I mean, for sure you had like I've for sure seen long lines in front of Walgreens for people getting.
Like I'm talking about back in the day, like back when the flu first started.
Oh,
you got it.
I don't think so.
I don't think I've
I don't
ever
think
heard
so.
of any kind of textbook or any teacher teach me about the unfairness and disparities of the flu vaccine rollout.
Well, again, I think the thing was like most of these things were done in centralized locations. You know, so it wasn't a situation where you have the federal government not telling the states where they're directly sending vaccines. Like, how does that even happen? How you just like, we're going to directly send, which is, like I said, it's a good idea in theory. You're going to directly send these vaccines to nursing homes, to certain pharmacies. But if you're not telling the states where you're sending them to, then what are you doing? Yeah. Like, you know, and this is a problem when you have things that are controlled and ran by the federal government. And I'm not an anti-government person, you know. I believe government plays a role, and I wish that it play a better role and a more efficient role in the things that they do, but it's just not the case in this country. It's just not the case, you know. And I don't know why. Sucks, but it is what it is, you know. Yeah. But with that being said, our second story. Now listen, hold on before we start, Harvey. This might be a little bit short. Like, this might be a short episode. We're supposed to have some guests on today. We might not be able to have these guests. I'm not exactly sure. I'm hoping after this story, I might take a short, brief break. Maybe 5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes, maybe 8 minutes. Who fucking knows, right? And I'm trying to get our guest on. But I might not be able to, so we might just be ending after this story. But with that being said, let's move on to our next story, which is about Andrew Cuomo. Now, if you're not familiar with Andrew Cuomo, he was highly praised during the pandemic on how he handled the pandemic in New York. But he is now facing investigation for his role in underreporting nursing home deaths in New York State. So again, if you're not familiar with what's going on with Governor Cuomo, he is facing a lot of scrutiny for the deaths of around 15,000 people due to a mandate he imposed. Now, back in March 25th of 2020, Cuomo issued a mandate that sent 9,000 COVID patients back to nursing homes without being tested. Now, I know you're hearing me say this, but let's take a look at this guy, Ron Kim. You see him in the other picture. Let's listen to him on an interview with Crystal and Sagar talk about this situation.
25th, the governor issued a mandate that sent 9,000 COVID patients back to nursing homes without being tested. That's when I started getting involved, when I saw the impact of that on the ground. Families outside, knowing that there's COVID spreading, couldn't get access, knowing that they don't have PPE. Half of the staff are out because they caught COVID, and that's the situation that I walked into. In the middle of that fight, the governor gave a blanket legal and criminal immunity to some of the worst nursing home executives hidden in a toxic bill in the state budget last year.
Yeah. And about 15,000 deaths came from nursing homes in New York. And 50% of those deaths were covered up by Governor Cuomo's administration. And Cuomo gave a legal shield to the very nursing home executives in a bill passed in the state's budget last year. And, while all this was going on, let's take a look at the way CNN covered this governor.
Come out before we go to break.
Real quick. I'm sorry.
The governor issued a mandate.
I'm sorry. We're gonna take a look at the way CNN covered this governor. And by the way, the person interviewing Governor Cuomo just happens to be his brother.
Come out before we go to break, where you wanted to encourage people to get tested, and some people are afraid it's going to hurt. So you had video of it that I want to show the audience of you actually getting tested. Here it is. There's you. You were kind of funny, and they were testing you. Now, a few questions about this process. First of all, Is it true that when you were having the test administered, you inhaled and the doctor's finger went all the way up your nose and got stuck and had to be released with a tool? Is that true? Just to deal with the record.
She wanted to comment that I have a little button nose, and she was afraid that the swab would actually hurt because it extended my nasal cavity.
The proboscis
she was
issue.
Speaking about the delicacy of the
nose. Yes. And that's what, you know what, I understand. This is the normal swab I'm holding up here now, and for everybody at home. A very valuable object. There's only one company in the entire country that makes these up in Maine. All right, here's the swab. Is it true
so cringe.
that this was
bad.
the swab that the nurse was actually using on you, and that at first it went into your nose and disappeared, so that in scale, this was the actual swab that was being used to fit up that double-barrel shotgun that you have mounted on the front of your pretty face?
That only makes old ladies and Karens happy.
Isn't it amazing, Javi? Isn't it amazing? Yeah. This is the country that we live in. Where the governor that's responsible directly responsible for the death of 15,000 people in these nursing homes gets softball questions by his brother who works for a mainstream media outlet. This is where we're at. Now, as I understand Jake Tapper, I'm not here to praise Jake Tapper as if he's this shining beacon of journalism for CNN, but Jake Tapper at least wanted to genuinely do an interview with Andrew Cuomo. And from what I understand, Cuomo has not gotten back to Jake Tapper. And you might be wondering, well, why would he be doing this? Why would Cuomo go to this extent? Why would he be doing this? Why would he go to this extent to cover it up? Well, it just so happens that the governor received about $1.5 million in political donations from the same industry of lobbyists who wrote the policy of legal immunity.
And when we say political donations, I think it's safe to say that's not going to his political campaign.
No.
It's not going to.
Oh, that's why he looks. That's what, his suits and travel and dinners. Them shits is all write-offs. Again, we talked about it with Janet Yellen in the last episode. How much she received? $800,000 from Citadel. There ain't no speech in the world that fucking Janet Yellen's gonna give that's worth $800,000. And there's nothing for $1.5 million Andrew Cuomo is going to do other than give you a liability shield for the thousands of people of elderly people who died in nursing homes because of Cuomo's direct mandates. And then on top of that, a legal liability shield for these people who are basically responsible for these deaths, which is. It's crazy. And all while this is going on, he got an Emmy. I don't know if you guys remember this. He got an Emmy for the way for the way he's handled in the interviews or whatever the fuck. He got some stupid Emmy for the way he handled and the way he was covered on the news for his handling of the coronavirus. He wrote a book. He wrote a book about the handling of what they went through in New York when it came to COVID. And this is the situation. And now after all that and I think, I'm not going to lie, I do think this has to do with the fact that Donald Trump isn't the main thing in the news anymore. And that now that Donald Trump isn't everyday part of the newsstream media, you actually have some people who actually have to do some real journalism now. They have to have something to fucking talk about. They just spent 4 years talking about Donald Trump. He's not in office no more. Twitter banned him, so he can't even tweet some crazy shit that they can cover. So that you actually have a chance to actually get some real journalism out there. And this is what you get. Is you find out that this guy who was praised over and over again about his handling of COVID is actually responsible for around 15,000 preventable deaths. That's what we find out when your news outlet isn't just nonstop 24/7. Donald Trump is a terrible orange man. So now I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to attempt to get a hold of our guest. If I can't get a hold of our guest, I'm going to come back and I'm saying my goodbyes. But give me 5 minutes, and I'm gonna try to get a hold of our guest here. Okay, give me a minute. So
That was quick.
I couldn't get a hold of, man. I'm gonna do better to make sure I can make sure I line these guests up. Again, I'm sorry, this is a bit of a shorter episode. It's not too bad, 30 minutes. You guys should be fine. All right, I don't want to hear nothing. It's Wednesday, and you said your Instagram says Wednesday, and today's Monday. You said it's Monday, okay? It doesn't say Monday on your Instagram. It says Wednesday, and today's not Wednesday. It says Monday. All right? Fuck you.
I'm put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Spontaneous L of the week.
Spontaneous L of the week?
Yep, right now off the top of your head.
Fuck. Andrew Cuomo. Fuck. I mean, this guy, bro. Like, you gotta remember. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. During the beginning of the pandemic, do we still have? Oh, I have the L at my house, don't I?
Yeah, you took it with you.
I did take it with me. Yeah.
I can double check though.
Yeah, no, I have it. I for sure have it. Yeah, I remember I have it. That too. We're gonna bring L of the week is coming back next episode. L of the weeks. I know that's your guys' all favorite program. L of the week's coming back, and so spontaneous L of the week. I'm gonna have to go ahead and give that back to Andrew Cuomo, because if you were like me during the beginning of the pandemic, I'm not gonna lie, I was watching the news every single fucking day, and every single fucking day they had Donald Trump up there and they had Andrew Cuomo up there, and it was this kind of good versus evil dynamic that they had with these two. And now it just turns out that it was just two evils, you know. And so I would give that L of the week to CNN. Although we've already, if you guys are fans of the show and people who've seen the show, you know that we've given CNN the L of the week already. Season one, CNN did already have an L of the week, and so CNN has another L of the week, and so does Andrew Cuomo. And fuck, we might as well throw his brother Chris Cuomo in there too, because he's the one softballing questions to his brother while all this was going on. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys all for watching and being a part. Today's show should be up tomorrow on YouTube. I'll make sure I get these clips out there on Instagram. And until then, you guys know what it is. Stay out of trouble, kids.